I gotta think about it, right? Probably the most fucking annoying objection in sales ever, all right? I'm gonna teach you today how to handle it, how to understand the objection, why it's even a thing, and yeah, and this is for me. I closed over 70%. I've done over $400,000 cash collected in the past 4 months. I've experienced with door-to-door. I was number one in the nation for my door-to-door company, which is for SunPower. And yeah, so let's get into it. Okay, so I have to think about it. This fucking shit trips so many people up. I know it tripped me up for the longest time. It's like, what do you even say to that? You know, genuinely, there's no logical. Like when you're starting on sales, you never feel confident in your response to I have to think about it. It's always like they say I have to think about it. What do you say? Right? It trips you up. I get it. This framework first is gonna basically show you how to handle that. And first off, though, let's understand what this objection is really all about. Okay? When they say I had to think about it, there's nothing to think about. You might be like, like what is there to think about? You have to understand that there is nothing to think about. It's a smokescreen. Okay? There's two situations. Either the prospect doesn't actually have anything to think about, and they need some sort of like push to actually go and buy. They need some sort of like emotional push. Or the second thing is they have an actual objection. They just don't want to tell you. Okay, it's one of those things. It's always one of those two things. And here's how to deal with both. Okay, so when someone says I have to think about it, your first response should be, what is there to think about? Okay, and it sounds dumb. It's like, okay, no shit. Like, of course you should. Like, you should ask that because there's a chance that you like 20-30% of the time the prospect will just tell you what there is to think about. They'll just tell you, right? Sometimes you have to make that ask for them to really tell you. But again, this only works like 20-30% of the time. It's worth the ask, and it brings us to our next thing that happens. So I'm just gonna walk you through the worst case scenario. Like they say no to everything, right? So you say, okay, what is there to think about, right? And they say, I don't know, I just have to think about it, right? Okay, then you say, okay, you reframe. Basically, you want to do a sort of shift in the conversation, change the momentum. The conversation is going in this momentum. You want to break that shit off and go a different direction. Okay, so what you need to say is, okay, stop. Look, genuinely, right? Be completely transparent. I don't take anything personally. You can be completely honest with me. What actually makes you unsure? Okay, and if you say that, what happens is essentially you're breaking the chance that they don't want to hurt your feelings by telling you. There's a chance that they don't want to hurt your feelings. They think, I don't really want to tell this guy. I feel a little bit uncomfortable. You might be a very straightforward person. You have to understand your prospect is not necessarily like that. Most people aren't like that. Okay, so you need to essentially break that ice, get them to admit to you what their objection is, and this probably works. This works probably around 30-40% of the time. Usually the first act doesn't work. This one, I would say it still more often doesn't work than works, but it works a lot of the time, okay? And if this doesn't work, if it doesn't, which the conversation is gonna go like this, it's like, what is there to think about? I don't know, I just have to think about it, right? And then you say, okay, well, look, be completely transparent with me. What actually makes you unsure? You can, don't be scared to hurt my feelings. And then they're like, well, I don't know, I just want to think about it, so I just want to think about it, okay? Then you basically have to do another momentum shift, another one, okay? You have to stop, and you have to understand, the point of asking all of these questions is you're making a guess at what their most high potential objection is. Because there's no way you're gonna know off the bat what their objection is. If you knew what their objection is, you would have solved it already. They would fucking be buying right now. Your goal with all of this, to get past this smoke screen of I have to think about it, is to find out what their real objection actually is. So all you can do is really just make educated guesses. And this framework is a way for you to basically throw out all the educated guesses, right? Now, it doesn't account for like, oh my God, maybe they have to think about it because they're fucking, I don't know, their dog has to go to the fucking, their dog has like terminal 3 cancer and is like, they have to take care of them. Like, obviously, you can't account for that kind of shit. But you can account for the 70-80% of objections that are normal for people, right? So that brings me to the last thing that you can do. And this is basically going to combine everything, plus it's going to give them a little bit of an emotional push, okay? It's going to give them one of those like, oh shit, I got to think about that for a second, okay? So what you want to do then, first off, before I even go into this, there's 4 things you need to understand, okay? There's 4 potential objections that are still there that you might not have tackled yet, and they might be deep in their brain. And the first one is going to be whether they're framed or not, right? How much they actually know about you and whoever you're selling for. Okay, the second thing is, do they actually even trust you, right? Do they even believe that your shit works, right? Because if they don't, they're not gonna fucking buy from you. The third thing, whether they have the time. And then the fourth thing is whether they believe in themselves that they're gonna be able to do it, okay? So you're covering two grounds there. Basically, trust in you and the actual ability in themselves to do it. Because guess what? If they believe in you, that you can make the money, and they also trust in themselves, they have the ability to do that, why the fuck would they not be able to do that? So let's get into it. So basically what you need to do is you stop momentum again, you change courses, okay? You say, dude, okay, look, how many videos or how many, whatever you guys have, most people have videos. So how many videos of us have you actually watched? And they're gonna say, I don't know, like probably a decent amount. Yeah, a good amount, right? So do you actually believe and you trust what I'm saying? Like, do you actually believe and trust that what we're saying is true? Maybe you're selling an Amazon FBA course. Do you actually believe that what we say about Amazon FBA is true? And they're gonna say, oh yeah, of course, right? And keep in mind, any one of these, if they seem a little bit hesitant, they're like, I don't know, or they have to think about it for a second. That's the objection that they have. That's the one that you need to tackle, nail down, and you're probably gonna get the sale, okay? So after you ask, so do you actually believe in what we say? Do you trust us, right? Then it comes to their ability to do it. Do they trust in themselves? So what you need to say there is, look, do you actually have the time for this? Ask them that, right? And they're gonna be like, okay, generally, yes, they have the time. If they don't have the time, they can't do it, okay? Fourth thing, the last one is, do they actually believe that they're gonna be able to execute, right? So if you tell them, so you can say, look, if we tell you to do something, are you actually gonna do it? Right? And of course they're gonna say yes, right? So then you summarize everything, you do a little bit of something to actually hype them up a little bit. You say, look, so if you believe in everything that we say is true, right? And you've watched all our videos, you know everything's true, and you are gonna be able to do what we tell you to do, and you're gonna do it, you're not gonna just half-ass the effort, and you have the time, right? Do you really think that you're gonna make less than X amount what they're paying in 3 months? Like, for example, if your offer is 5K, right? For Amazon FBA. Like, if you believe all these things, right? Do you actually think that in 6 months you're gonna make less than 5K? Do you actually believe that? And when you say that, they're like, well, I guess not. They always say that. They never say, well, I don't know. No, they always say, yeah, right? And from there, basically what happened is you tackled all the primary objections that could be coming up, and you also hyped them up a little bit. You got a little bit more emotion out of them. And sometimes that emotional push is all they need to say yes, right? How I like to do this is, after I do this kind of framework, I like to go for the assumed close, because and if you don't know what assumed close is, look it up. Because you don't want to give these people another chance to say, I gotta think about it. If you do that, then you're basically fucked. It's not worth it at that point, all right? If you have to go past this and go even further into convincing them, it's really not worth your time at that point. Just move on to the next call, okay? Because at that point, they don't want to tell you, and it's not logical anymore, okay? If you, when you did a good job in sales, when you tackled everything logically, you gave them an emotional push, you did everything you could, and they still just don't want to do it. Those are not logical people, and it's really hard to deal with those people. And you can deal with those people, and I have sold those kinds of people before, but it takes an unnecessarily long amount of time. So I wouldn't recommend dealing with those kinds of people, okay? So just to summarize, this is how you close people when they say I have to think about it. If you have to go way past this and put even more time into it, I wouldn't bother. It's not worth it. And yeah, so if you're interested in learning more, seeing these more objection style videos, if you guys have a specific objection you would like me to cover, just let me know. Also, just want to make a quick note, nobody has to go for this if you don't want to. I do consulting, so if you have any questions, if you want to work with me or whatever, there's a jot form in my my actual YouTube bio, so just sign up there for a call, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.